Hi there. Hope you guys are doing really, really well. My name is Brian. I am your queer psychic bestie, and I have a reading for you guys today. This is going to be a mid month check in for the sign of Aries. So if you have Aries anywhere in your chart, maybe you just vibe with Aries, you could be a cross watcher, whatever the case may be for you, this reading might resonate. As always, take what resonates, leave what does not. Okay. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do that through email or form submission on my website. All right. This is not we're not doing a set spread today. I'm not doing like a Celtic cross. This is for July, by the way. This is just a July mid-month. We're going to see where the cards take us. We'll be doing 6 cards, clarifying them by 2s, and just see what your guides want you to know. You know, what's coming in for you, what's happening around you, what's blocking you, things of that sort. So let's dive in. Let's get to it. Bottom of the deck is your challenge. Aries represents what you're not seeing, what you're not looking at. We've got the 6 of Swords, the 4 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Pentacles. Okay. So what I think is really interesting about your challenge here is it feels like some of you are there's an exit that's approaching in your life if you already haven't taken it. And some of you are, I almost want to say, like, internalizing the grief over this. Okay. For a lot of you here, 5 of Pentacles is abandonment. 4 of Pentacles is holding things really tight to the chest. So like secrets. And then 6 of Swords is moving forward, moving on. It's like it's a movement card, you know? So it feels like right off the bat, a lot of you are dealing with like I almost want to say like the emotional consequences of an action here that maybe some of you have yet to take. Some of you have already taken it. There is some sort of exit here for some of you, but it feels like you're keeping in a lot of the like emotional turmoil. It feels like you're being a little bit, I almost want to say a little bit reclusive, which is kind of interesting for Aries because you're usually a little bit more of like a sparky sign, you know, you're not really the reclusive type. So it's interesting. I'm curious. Hopefully we'll kind of dig out in the reading why you're being secretive about this or like why you're holding it in, but let's get into it. Oh, I did just hear pride. Okay, that's interesting. You start with the Wheel of Fortune and the World. For some of you also, this is going to be very specific for someone. Is that a name? I think this is a name. Oh goodness. Y'all are going to laugh at me if I get this name wrong. Clancy? I could not tell you. I don't think I've ever met anyone in my life with the name Clancy. I don't even know if it's a word. It's honestly just what I heard, so I'm going to say it. But despite the name, for a lot of you here, there's the pride that's getting in the way for a lot of you is this feeling of like shame because you can't figure something out. Is what's coming through here. You know, with the Wheel of Fortune and the World, those are 2 huge energies coming in for you. There's like a wrap up of like some sort of very big cycle here. I almost wanted to call it a vicious cycle as well. So this could be particularly painful of a closing out for you. Or the thing that you're closing out is painful, like has caused you pain. But the Wheel of Fortune is divine intervention, and the World is the start of a new cycle. But let's see what comes out here. Hanged Man. 5 of Wands. And the Sun. Okay. For a lot of you also, it feels like whatever this cycle is that you need to close out, it feels like, how do I say this? It feels like some of you guys base your happiness on the cycle, is the best way I could say this. So the example I'm hearing is like, let's say you have an abusive partner and you're basing the quality of your relationship on when things are good, or like your happiness depends on how the relationship is going. That can easily be said for work as well. You know, someone could be like, oh, I only enjoy my job when I'm happy doing it, or like I'm only happy when it's like this weird energy here for you guys, Aries, of like your happiness is contingent on the cycle. I don't know how else to say that. And I feel like with this Hanged Man here, there's like a stagnancy in your energy. High Priestess, some of you could have Pisces. Hanged Man and High Priestess are Pisces cards. But it feels like your intuition is trying to highlight this for you. Like your sense of happiness should never be contingent on something else, regardless of what that thing is. And that's where I feel like some of you are with this cycle. I don't really understand it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. 3 of Swords, 5 of Pentacles, the 9 of Cups. I feel like some of you guys are really stressed because you're like, well, if I walk away from this, how do I, what's going to make me happy? For some of you, if this is a relationship for some of you, there's definitely codependency issues here because it feels like you're kind of banking everything. I mean, codependency issues can go non-relationship as well. But a lot of you, the problem is you're banking so much of your emotional stability on something else. You know, so much of your emotional landscape and your emotional world is affected by this cycle or by this other thing here that we're talking about, whatever it is. And I feel like some of you in the mid-month, it's like a lot of you are coming to terms with this, is what I want to say. And really, it's like the way my guides are showing this to me is it's almost like they're putting it right in front of your face. Do you know when I don't know if you guys have ever heard the expression of like, if you want to hide something from someone, put it in front of their face, like put it like in a common area, like right in front of their nose. That's what I feel like your guides are doing with you right now, Aries, in the mid-month. They're kind of like putting something directly in front of your face. They're kind of forcing you to look at it. And I feel like some of you are understanding now, 9 of Wands, bottom of the deck, Wounded Warrior, that like you've banked too much on this. You know, like you've too much of your sense of self and your sense of worth is devoted to this thing. Yeah, Page of Wands. With that Page of Wands, it feels like this is, again, you guys being curious, being like, well, what if I leave this cycle behind? Like, what if I move on from it? I do feel like for some of you, you are kind of, I keep hearing the word feelers. You know, when someone says, like, I don't know if you've ever had a friend that, you know, they're like, oh, I'm looking for this new job. And you're like, oh, I'll put some feelers out for you. That's what I'm hearing. Like feelers, like antenna. I don't know how else to say that to you guys. Feels like some of you have antenna out. Literally think like a little ant and you're just kind of like put the feeler out there and just like tasting the pheromones and everything. And I feel like some of you are like, okay, it's almost like some of you could have what's this called? Agoraphobia is what's coming through a little bit. Like you could have a touch of it because it's almost like you're like, okay, I'm taking a foot outside. Okay, I took the foot. I'm going to take another one. You know, like it's this very, like there's a lot of trepidation here, but at the same time, I feel like you know that you need to do this for your own sense of self and your own sense of like, quality of life is almost what I want to say here too. Like for those of you that are dealing with it's really not full-blown agoraphobia. I don't feel that. I feel like it's just kind of a touch. It's like a social anxiety thing. It's like I feel like you're recognizing, okay, I can't let this limit my life. You know, if I always stay in my house, I'm very limited in my world experience there. You know, because your next 2 cards are the Moon and the Strength. So with the Moon and the Strength, a lot of you are so much major arcana. Oh my goodness, Aries, I didn't even realize your whole reading is major arcana, which is fucking crazy. So the difference between major arcana and minor arcana is that major arcana is huge life changes. I always describe them as destined events. You're destined to experience it. Minor arcana is like what we can fuck with, you know, the pages, the numbers, things like that. But the Moon and the Strength card, I mean, Aries, it feels like you're powerhousing through some like very heavy fears in the mid-month here. I feel like you guys are really starting to acknowledge. Okay, I'll say it like that. The way my guide said it to me is just how bad things are. I don't know. Aries, it feels like you are stuck in some weird cycle here. Yeah, with the Empress. 2 of Wands, 6 of Swords, and the Empress. Why do I feel like some of you... Okay, this is a weird energy. This is a weird energy. I'm just going to say it. Showing off. Some of you feel like it's, and maybe it's not like a showing off thing. I don't feel like you guys are walking around like boasting about things, but some of you wear, oh, okay, now I understand what this is. This is very, and I use this word like as a way to describe like a generational trauma that I've noticed and experienced myself, but like a very boomer trauma is like wearing said trauma like a badge of honor. Like, I don't know if you've ever met anyone who's older that's been like, oh, like I've worked 80-hour weeks my whole life. And they're like proud of it without realizing that it's a trauma. For some of you, you have a wound from that from a parent, probably a mother figure here with the Empress, where like you almost wear this sense of like, oh, well, like I've never been happy at my work and I've got promoted 3 times. And it's like I feel like your guides are like really encouraging you to delve into this and really start dissecting it and being like, why am I wearing something bad like pride? Like that's like it's just this weird thing that you're doing here. And I shouldn't say it's weird because it's not, because it's a learned behavior. You learned it from someone. I just It feels a little, the reason I feel like it's weird is because it feels a little out of place here. I'm not gonna lie to you, Aries. Like, I'm trying to figure out how this has to do with your cycle that we're talking about. But at the same time, if your cycle, if your cycle is like, your self-worth is contingent on the cycle. So remaining in a difficult cycle. Okay, now I'm seeing it. Now, do you see how it's like linking now? Because I'm seeing how it's linking. Because when you remain in that difficult cycle and you wear it like a badge of honor, it bolsters that sense of self. Okay, which is why it feels like you struggle to walk away from things that are difficult for you, because it threatens your identity. It threatens where you are receiving your worth from. Yeah, with the Lovers here especially. Lovers and the Knight of Swords. Yeah, it feels like some of you guys, like, there's almost like this weird masochism here where, like, you enjoy when things are exceedingly difficult for you because it's like a show of strength. There's some weird energy here for you, Aries. This is very, like, this is very unhealed masculine is what this is giving for me. When we talk about the masculine, we talk about that is the divine masculine, the father of the tarot. The Empress is the mother of the tarot. Having to show strength and kind of like show that we are worth something is a wound in the divine masculine. You're operating out of a wounded masculine energy there. And it feels like with the Lovers and the Knight of Swords here, your mid-month is really highlighting for you that this is not sustainable is the word I'm hearing. This is not something that's going to be, you're going to be able to keep up. I also just heard the word farce. A farce is like a facade. It's like a show, like a fake. It feels like, I'm not calling you fake, don't get me twisted. But it feels like the cycle that you're operating in is a farce here. It's hiding something a little bit deeper. But it feels like, if it took me this long to link it, I feel like you may not realize that it's even linked yet. Yeah, 3 of Cups. It feels like some of you may have friends or like close, like chosen family that have pointed this out to you. Like, hey, like things don't have to be difficult for you to be worth something. Like, you don't have to survive a ridiculously difficult trial to like get something. It feels almost medieval in honestly when I say it like that. And I feel like for a lot of you here, it's like whatever this cycle is connected to this first thing that we talked about here that my guides are being purposely very vague with me about. It feels like the more you can understand that the cycle you're operating in is a smokescreen for something else, the more you are likely to look at this first pile that we talked about here and see it for what it is and heal it. It feels like everything here is so interconnected in your mind and in your energy, but it just feels like it's a wallop for you. It's like, it feels like every time you try to look at this or try to delve into it, it almost like, I keep seeing the meme, y'all are gonna laugh at me, but like brain got hands, where that person like photoshopped like boxing gloves on a brain. It feels like that. It feels like you're kind of up against a very vindictive brain at that point, because your last two cards are Justice and Death. So some of you could have Libra or Scorpio. Justice is Libra, Scorpio is Death. But for a lot of you, this is like a complete identity shift. This is a complete, like, everything I feel like you thought you knew about yourself, and I know that sounds overwhelming, has to change. Because at the core here, the core belief that you are holding on to here is that you have to, things have to be difficult for you to be worth something. It's a bit twisted, Aries. I'm going to be honest with you. It's like, I feel like I need to point out to you that this is like a very out there and dated belief. Okay? Because if someone else can point out to you, especially a stranger who doesn't know you, that this is like not a healthy belief to hold, and this is something that you got from someone else that's very outdated, way out there, then I feel like it will help you get rid of it. It makes something click for us, you know? The example I'll give you is, I had a reader say to me one time, which I will now give to you as advice, see if it, hopefully it resonates for you. Or not hopefully, but like, it may resonate, it may not, you know, the gist. But she was like, it's not enough to recognize the pattern. And I was like, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, you see the pattern, you know it, the pattern of negative thought. And I was like, well, yeah, that's like, I'm aware of it. Like, that's how I'm trying to change it. She's like, okay, but you're recognizing it, but you're not reprogramming it. Okay, first of all, rude, you know, but like, it really struck me, because I was like, wait, she's right. Like, I'm recognizing it, but that's not enough. I have to go a step further than that. I feel like your guides want me to focus in on this specific issue for you so that you recognize that it's incorrect. You know, your life doesn't have to be doom and gloom to show everyone that you're worthy of being loved, that you're worthy of being appreciated, you know? Worthiness has no prerequisite. I say that literally all the time, and it's coming. I'm going to say it again to you, Aries. Oh my goodness. Y'all making me work. Wheel of Fortune twice. Wow. It feels like your guides are like, Wheel of Fortune twice is like very big divine intervention. That's like very big. Your guides are stepping in to help you here. And the Chariot, Aries, I don't know what you have going on, but this is so powerful. 10 of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Chariot. It feels like for a lot of you here, things are changing on such a rapid, big scale for you, and it's changing for the better. You know, when we talk about the 10 of Cups, that is happiness, but first of all, I always tell my clients it's the happy ending card, but we are our own happy endings, right? But when we think about the happy ending, when we think about happiness, the conceptualization of it, the amalgamation of happiness as a thing, a thought, a concept, what does it mean to you? It's going to be different for all of us. For some of us, for me, it was peace, security, safety. For everyone else, it's going to be different. Some people, it might be adventure, travel, newness. You know, there's so many different things out there for you. And there's so many different emotions that happiness is going to elicit from different people. You guys need to focus on, what is that happiness for you? What does it mean outside of the house, the 2.5 kids, the house on the cliff, you know, outside of the physical world? What does it mean, Aries? Four of Wands, commitment, period. And the Knight of Wands. It feels like for a lot of you, your mid-month ends on such a good note here, you know, because Four of Wands and Knight of Wands, it feels like a lot of you are just kind of like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you go and you do something for the first time, you may not know, let's say you go to an axe throwing bar. I've never thrown a fucking axe in my life, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to chuck it and see what happens. It feels like a lot of you are kind of at an axe throwing bar for the first time. You know, you're really just kind of like, okay, Four of Wands, Knight of Wands, I just have to go. Even if I don't know what I'm doing, even if I've never done it before, I just have to push it. And I have to try. Because with that Eight of Swords, it feels like a lot of you guys have been trapped in your mind for so long that you don't really know. With that star here, you don't really know anything else. Yeah, Ten of Swords. This is an ending for you, babes. This is a very, very big release of a very toxic cycle that's kept you prisoner for a really, really long time. And I feel like a lot of you, I'm hearing renewed sense of self as well. You know, like I feel like a lot of you are going to come out of this and be like, oh, wow, like this is who I've been this whole time. You know, when sometimes we outgrow certain phases of our life or first certain aspects of our lives, then we look back at the version of ourselves that existed during that phase and you're like, oh, I can't believe I acted like that. That's what this feels like. It feels like a lot of you are getting out of a cycle and then looking back on it and being like, oh, wow, I can't believe I did that for so long. You know, I can't believe I survived that for so long. But let's get you an oracle card. As always, I will be using the Angelarium. This is my favorite oracle deck. It's really beautiful artwork, and it reads you to absolute filth every single time. So, let's see. Can I get a card for Aries, please? For the mid-month for Aries. What's their advice? That was really fast. Cool. Interesting. Chazakiel, Angel of the Mists. This makes sense. I'll explain to you guys what this card means to me after I read it to you. I get this. I used to get this card a lot. I haven't got him in a hot minute. But I used to get him all the time. He is 27 for those of you that are into numerology. Despair creeps up slowly and seductively. The romance of sadness brings us into its embrace and shields our eyes from the light in the world. If you are drawing this card, ask yourself if your vision has narrowed. Peer beyond the fog. Look for a glimmer in the distance rather than the shadows at your feet. No matter how tight the walls close, the larger world is always still out there. I particularly like this card a lot because the story behind Chazakiel in the book is that he never fully descends from heaven, he never fully falls, and he never fully remains. So he exists in limbo, where he's always in the middle stages of falling and staying, and he's dissatisfied with his existence because he never could commit to either route. It always is a very good reminder for me of like, make a decision and commit to it. Okay, choose that path, because if you don't, you always exist in that in between, and then nothing ever changes for you, and you're always just sort of unhappy about it. Okay, Aries, I will leave that there. That is your mid-month check-in. Wow, big energies for you guys this month. If you like the way I read, if this reading resonates with you, do consider liking and subscribing. We are so close to 100 subscribers, which is exciting. If you would like to interact with me on a live basis, I do go live 3 days a week on Twitch. You can catch me Wednesday and Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. EST, as well as Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. EST. So, Aries, I hope to see you over there one day. And if not, it's okay, because I will catch you guys in the next video. All right? Bye.